If you're watching the NFL this weekend and you see a new accessory out there, this is the reason why. Josh Allen got a bloody nose last weekend, left the game, missed 2 plays, then came back in with some gauze in his nose. He said he could breathe, and now in the words of the Bills on social, Visor JA17 has entered the chat. He'll probably rock that visor this Thursday night against the Dolphins. So what is life like with that clear visor, Josh?
It doesn't really impact much. It's weird to say, but it's a little warmer in there. Like your voice kind of echoes off of it too, so it's just a little bit weirder.
Is that your first time wearing quite like that?
I mean, I wore one all throughout college. I don't think I've worn one in a game in the NFL. But it's all right. I'm a little bruised up, but we're all good.
Normally when we show weather, it's a cause for concern. It's about to rain. It's going to be tough out there, maybe snowy. But Thursday night out in New York, kickoff of 8:15, it's partly cloudy. Nice clear skies for the most part. 80% humidity. Florida would say, hey, we can raise that up a few notches for you. But 70 degrees and 80% humidity, maybe problems for the visor, maybe not. But I'm not an expert on visors, but I think I know someone who might be an expert on visors, or at least all things NFL, and that's our lead NFL insider, Jonathan Jones, who's tapped in with us. I used to rock rec specs back in the day, JJ, but that was wearing basketball season, so I didn't need to worry about any outdoor situation. So now we look at Josh Allen. He will put on that clear visor to protect the nose. Is this a big deal? Is this too much about nothing? How do you feel on it?
Well, I hope that he swags it out a little bit, right? I understand it's a clear visor, but, you know, Josh Allen, he's the reigning NFL MVP, has the gold shield, right, and that NFL shield on his jersey. So I hope that it just goes with his swag, with his aura. You know, you saw the sort of bruising right here. That was yesterday. I can imagine by Thursday night, it's going to be a little bit more black and blue up there for Josh Allen. I'm looking forward to the cameras catching that. But, yeah, he's going to wear the visor. Like he said, he wore it in college. The only sort of hesitation that I have a little bit, and look, these are the best visors that are out there, but it is a night game. You're going to be dealing with the lights. The glare should be reduced to something that there should be no glare whatsoever. But when you are not used to it, that could be something that you have to deal with, right? At practice at 1 p.m. Eastern is one thing. At night, at 9:30, as you enter the second quarter, is a completely different thing. So may take some getting used to. We've also seen guys go into a game thinking that they were going to wear one accessory, and like, all right, nope, that's it. And so we may see the equipment manager like hammer out that visor at some point after a couple of drives, but that's what he's planning to do to protect the nose.
Yeah, if we see them pivot, don't be shocked, people, as we are, I guess we'll call it nosegate for Josh Allen Thursday up against the Dolphins. Other things happening around the league takes to the Vikings, who are reportedly putting their starting running back Aaron Jones on the IR, so he'll be out for at least 4 games. You add on to the fact that J.J. McCarthy's injured and dealing with an injury. What happens to Minnesota's offense now?
It's going to look a lot different. And, you know, I listened to Kevin O'Connell earlier this week when he talked about J.J. McCarthy not being able to play this week and for a couple of weeks. And he said that nothing changes in the offense with Carson Wentz. And coaches always say that when there's a backup quarterback who is not replacing like a super unique guy, right, like a Lamar Jackson. The offense is obviously going to change. You're going to have to whittle down some of what's on the play calling sheet. So this could be a little meat and potatoes offense for the Minnesota Vikings. You have Carson Wentz, who joined there 2-3 weeks ago. You have Jordan Mason, who joined in the offseason. Obviously, we saw what he did in spot duty with the San Francisco 49ers. You feel good about how he can tote the rock, especially against a Cincinnati Bengals defense that will allow people to run on them. So that can certainly be helpful. Again, we know that this is going to be a battle of the backups this upcoming week with Jake Browning and the Cincinnati Bengals. Bengals also very likely to be missing Shamar Stewart, the rookie pass rusher. I believe Zach Taylor had him as doubtful. Trey Hendrickson, great pass rusher, not so great against the run. And so Jordan Mason's going to take over in the backfield. I would suspect that he's going to get plenty of handoffs from Carson Wentz. So too would Cam Akers, probably spelling Jordan Mason a bit. But look, when you got Justin Jefferson out there on the outside, Carson Wentz, he may not know much of the playbook, but he knows to throw it to that guy.
Yeah, it might be a lot of looking at the box score. Wait, that guy's playing here this week? Okay, get used to it. That's what we will see. A pretty beefy subject to get to now, because I know you have an article coming out on CBSSports.com, JJ, about the NFL and them educating players and new gambling rules as well. What can you tell us about this big and important topic?
So 3 years ago, we remember Calvin Ridley got suspended for a year for, he was out for some time. He was playing on his phone. He did some parlays. Boom, he got caught. 2023, a lot of Detroit Lions got caught sports gambling while they were at the team facility. In 2023, 10 players across the NFL wound up getting suspended that year for some time. But since then, the NFL has not seen a single player get suspended for anything related to sports gambling. And in talking with league executives and talking with former players, I actually got on the phone with Chad Pennington, the co-executive director of the NFL Legends community. They have gotten together to sort of whittle down the rules for NFL players on sports gambling, and then they get former players during training camp to go speak to the players at training camp. Here are the 6 rules. Okay, number 1 is really easy. It's in all caps. It's never bet on the NFL. That one's a simple one. Never have someone bet for you on the NFL. Don't try to game the game, they say. Never share team inside information. Some bad actor comes up to you, wants to know if your teammate, if that hamstring is really bad, if he's not going to play, don't say anything. The 4th one, never gamble at your team facility or while traveling for any game or staying at a team hotel. That's really wordy, but really what you need to know is don't gamble, even on college basketball, which players can do. Don't do that while on company time. Okay? Don't enter a sports book during an NFL playing season. So if you're in New Orleans, for example, yes, you can go into a casino. If you're in Las Vegas, you can go into a casino. Don't go into the sports book. And some of these rookies, they've never even seen a casino before, so you have to explain some of that to them. And then lastly, never play daily fantasy football. You can play year-long fantasy football. You can have a prize at the end that is non-monetary or up to $250. But the daily fantasy football, they want you to stay away. So those are the 6 rules that they hit all of the players with. And so far, going back to last year, we're only 3 weeks into the season so far, but no one has run afoul of the rules since that 2023 spate of players who all got suspended. So the league thinks, hey, getting this education to them early, kind of really focusing in on what these rules are. And then lastly, getting former players in, because in talking with Chad Pennington, he said, look, I care about these guys. I care about their wallets. I care about the integrity of the game. And I don't want them to make a $100 mistake that winds up turning into a $1 million mistake.
And that monetary mistake can also turn into other types of penalties. So what are we looking at in that situation when it comes to the rule following? If you don't do it, this will happen.
So, look, if you bet on the NFL, and again, remember, the number 1 rule, don't bet on NFL games. If you are on a team and you bet on one of the 31 other teams, boom, 1-year ban. It's almost like there are no questions asked. If you bet on your own team, 2-year ban. Doesn't matter if you bet on them to win. Doesn't matter if you bet on yourself to, catch 300 yards. Boom, 2-year ban. And if you are found to match fix, right? If you have taken a bribe to go throw something out there, lifetime ban. Now, fortunately, of course, that has not had to take place in the NFL in its history, but that is out there. We have discussed on here about sports gambling issues with baseball. We've seen it, obviously, with the NBA, and we just saw it in college sports. It seems like once a month or so, you're seeing a new big either investigation or punishment in some of these major sports, either professional or amateur. But what we have not seen is in the NFL, who they have very, very strict rules, but they also have a lot of integrity monitoring. They spend a ton of money making sure that they are looking out for their 2,000 players and what is going on. So kudos to the NFL, kudos to their gambling education that takes place in the preseason, in training camp. So far, so good. It certainly seems over the past 2 seasons it has been working.
And certainly hope that we can keep things on the up and up, and we do not have any issues with any players when it comes to gambling moving forward. Jonathan Jones, thank you so much. Always a pleasure tapping in with you and talking some football. And we can talk even more football coming up this weekend as NFL Today is going throwback, taking it back to the 70s. You're not seeing something wrong on your screen. These are the vibes that you will see on CBS and streaming on Paramount Plus at noon Eastern on Sunday for NFL Today Throwback Edition, 70s life, y'all.